There's a special edition of Bring It On live review of Survivor Series at the hotel after Survivor Series. We totally speechless still. Like, what the hell happened? Nobody expected Goldberg and Lesnar to be a 5-star match going 20 minutes, but to last 30 seconds. Two spears and a jackhammer. What the fuck happened? I don't know.
I can believe it.
It's a little disappointing, but at the same time, it left everybody like, holy shit,
What happened? Yeah.
Everybody was like that, in the crowd. I talked to a lot of people. I talked to at least 25, 30 people after the show. And
even after the pin.
Yeah.
After the pin, people in the arena, they weren't leaving. Because they thought it couldn't end like that.
It couldn't end like that, right?
You had to see someone come out and say it's all over.
Exactly.
What happened?
Exactly. That totally fucked up. They did their job.
Yeah.
We're covering it backwards, the main event first. But yeah, that's basically all there is to say. That wasn't a match. It was basically a squash.
A squash in the main event.
And it's totally fucked up. But at the same time, with Brock, he comes in and squashes people. Sometimes he can get squashed. And the only thing that I regret is that he was, after this undefeated streak, except for the loss of Taker when he didn't tap out, but
right.
I would have preferred him to be fed to a young guy like even Braun Strowman. I don't even Roman Reigns, anybody, Kevin Owens, than to a 50-year-old guy, that probably won't wrestle anymore.
Exactly.
So it's frustrating in a way to me because nostalgia people are like, oh, Goldberg was back.
Yeah.
I'm that nostalgia guy. I love the current roster. I love the guys that fight every night, that are stealing their show every night, and not to see Dolph Ziggler on the card and see Goldberg in the main event. That's okay. That's a once-in-a-lifetime match.
Yeah.
And I know that at WrestleMania we're going to be stuck with The Rock and Shaquille O'Neal and Big Show and all those guys that I can't stand anymore because you know what? The Rock was cool 20 years ago when he wrestled 15 years ago. Yeah. I still love watching him in Fast, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But WWE, it's Dean Ambrose, it's Seth Rollins, it's Finn Balor. It's AJ Styles, the guys that steal the show every night.
That's right.
It's time to pass the torch and stop having those... the best example of use of old guys is this last Tuesday on SmackDown.
Right.
You see Edge coming in.
Yeah.
It puts the guys, the young generation over.
Exactly.
And the same thing with Undertaker.
That's right.
They're not stealing the spotlight from the guys. They're putting the spotlight on the guys.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
It was a very good speech by Undertaker on SmackDown, yeah.
But now what do you take from the main event? 50-year-old guy beats Brock Lesnar. Now Brock's coming back. He's going to fight Roman. Whoever beats Brock now, he lost against a 50-year-old in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So, to me, there's no point unless Brock quit before and we're never going to see him again in the ring. Or unless there's big deal with Goldberg, something that we don't know, maybe a match against, I don't know, Undertaker. Oh my God, Undertaker at WrestleMania. Who wants to see that 250-year-old? At least Goldberg's in shape, like Undertaker looks like another, like an old retired guy that, puts makeup and gets in the ring, can barely walk. If he does his entrance and a speech or whatever, or just a chokeslam, I'm okay with that.
Right.
But to wrestle and steal the spotlight, I'm fucking tired of it. It's time to move on. It's time to let the younger guys that do it every fucking pay-per-view. I'm sorry I'm on a rant right now, but I've said it for months.
Oh, yeah.
And fucking tired of seeing those guys stealing the spotlight from the guys that. And people say, well, they're over. The newer guys are not over. Well, they packed the fucking Air Canada Center for 3 nights in a row.
Yeah.
And they packed it yesterday with NXT with young guys. Young guys, not necessarily young guys, but I mean guys, NXT TakeOver, no Brock Lesnar or Undertaker or guys like that.
Right.
And the same thing tomorrow on Raw, So to me, you don't need those. You can see it in the ratings, even when guys like Rock are there. It doesn't make a dent, and it doesn't change anything,
No.
It's like, okay, good, Nostalgia is over. Let's move on.
Right.
But shine the spotlight on those who deserve it. The Roman Reigns. I don't even know why people are booing him.
No, that was ridiculous tonight.
It's I love Toronto crowd. Awesome crowd, absolutely crazy. The new 10 chant
every time the referee counts 10.
You know what? You know, 10 years down the road, we'll be looking back. Every crowd in the U.S., everywhere, they'll be chanting 10. And we'll be saying, you know what, it started this weekend in Toronto because of Ty Dillinger. And it's something that's going to catch on. And then I'm sure we'll keep on going on in every city now.
I guess that means it's over, right?
I guess it's it's kind of like what? You know, I know a lot of people now will say what?
Yeah.
They don't even know. That it was Steve Austin.
Well, I do.
We do because we're hardcore fans. But a lot of people tonight, they were chanting 10.
Right.
The guys beside me, they didn't know why.
Yeah, exactly.
They were chanting 10 because the guy in front was chanting 10, and they were like, "Oh, it's cool," you know. So they didn't know it was because of Ty Dillinger. I explained it to them, but they were like, "Ooh, Ty, ooh," you know. Yeah. Not everybody watches NXT.
Not everybody watches NXT. No.
And it's the same thing, you know, with a lot of people booing Roman Reigns. You know, they're booing because
it's a cool thing to do.
The guy in front of them is booing them. Right. Is booing Roman. So I'll boo him.
Right.
So you know, you got 2 or 3 leaders, and then you got a bunch of sheep, you know, just following like the Wyatt family. And it's so true. It's a reflection of life and society itself. Like everybody follows everybody. You know, the guy beside me, that's probably the biggest compliment I've had ever, because the guy is standing beside me with his kid, and I think his brother, and they were like not hardcore fans, you know, the kind of fans that go and see a pay-per-view. They don't watch Raw every week. Right. They don't know all the wrestlers, but they don't know all the angles. Right. They don't even know the insider terms. I was telling him stuff, you know, like, oh, might turn out to be a good angle, and he was looking at me like, what are you talking about? And we take for granted those things because we're insider fans or hardcore fans. But 90% of people going to Raw and they're like, ooh, what the fuck are they talking about? Right. So, and as everybody was booing Roman Reigns, his kid loves Roman Reigns, but he was kind of, you know, I'm not going to applaud or whatever because everybody's booing him. So I was like, everybody was like, Roman sucked. I was like, let's go, Roman. And after a while, he looked at me and he said, I like when you do that. At least you stand up. You know, everybody's booing him. Why? I like the guy. I said, you know what? If you like the guy, cheer with me. So we started cheering. And all of a sudden, you know, in my section, a lot of people were saying, let's go, Roman. Just because the guy in front of you say, because you've heard it on TV. It's like the cool thing to do. Right. Like John Cena. The same thing with Dean Ambrose when he became champion. Right. It's not cool to applaud him anymore because he's not the underdog anymore. He's the champion. He must have sucked Vince's dick, right? Right. So let's boo him. Yeah. Because he's the guy. You know, he's been the chosen one.
That's why people boo Roman Reigns, because
exactly.
Man chose him to be the next guy.
By the way, I forgot to say this is a rated R version of the podcast.
By the way, as far as I know, Roman Reigns is not champion.
I know.
He's U.S. champion.
He's the U.S. champion.
Not world
title
champion.
That nobody gives a shit about. Like the IC title, sadly, because I love The Miz.
Another match tonight, The Miz against Sami Zayn.
It was awesome.
It was an awesome match. But
it was awesome.
I was surprised The Miz won.
I was surprised, you know, they threw like a curveball because everybody expected the Cruiserweights to come on SmackDown and The Miz to lose and the IC belt to go to Raw. But a good swerve and a good match.
Yeah, it was good.
And I love The Miz. I love Sami Zayn. You know, it was a perfect match. Hopefully, down the road, Sami will win the title.
Yeah, but the way he won.
Yeah.
Maurice ringing the bell. And
exactly.
You got pinned after,
So. Exactly. But it was cool, you know. I loved it. It was a good match, you know. It kept Sami looking good. Like, having Kevin Owens being disqualified keeps him looking good. Right. Puts a few chinks in the armor now that he used the list. Why? Kevin, why did you do that? You destroyed the list.
Oh, my God.
You can't do that. And if you keep doing that, you know, you just might make the list.
You might, huh?
Might make the list tomorrow night on Raw. Who knows? You know, that'd be so incredible. You know, if he goes like, I feel like putting you on the list, but I'm not yet. You know, one more chance. My best friend, you know, that destroyed my list. That was so funny. You know, that was cool. You know, I love Jericho and I love Owens. They're awesome.
Oh yeah, and Jericho was way over tonight.
Absolutely.
Man, oh man.
And Seth Rollins was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. He stole the show. You know, Shane stole the show too.
I'll be Shane O'Mac.
Shane O'Mac is the daredevil, the man with no fear, like Taker said. You know, the guy has just, and he nails it every time. You know, it's coast to coast. He didn't do it.
No.
But I mean, his elbow off the top rope, you know, the inside. You know, to Shane, it's just another day at the office. You know, he's
always done it. Yeah.
That's awesome. You know, I really like. I like that match. hour 15 minutes, something like that. It was awesome. It was a great match.
Yeah.
I was a little bit disappointed in the tag team match because it was so quick.
Yeah.
It was actually New Day lasting about a minute, and then
New Day gone so fast.
yeah, and the fact that everybody got their finishes pretty quick. Everybody was gone. American Alpha disposed like that. Everybody except the Usos at the end. They had a good little 10-minute match with Cesaro and Sheamus.
Right.
The spotlight was shined directly on Sheamus and Cesaro.
Yes.
I'm happy about it because these two guys deserve so much. For years we've said, oh, Cesaro's never getting a push. He is now.
Oh, yeah. Finally.
And the same thing with the Wyatt family.
Yeah.
Being the two sole survivors in the 10-man match, with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt standing strong with Luke Harper. That was awesome.
Right.
It was awesome. It was like, wow.
Luke Harper was not technically in the match.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, they won for SmackDown,
Right.
And tomorrow Shane's going to be very angry at AJ and Dean for, screwing both of, their spot in the match. It was still a very, very, very good match. It kept everybody looking strong. Nobody left this match unprotected.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Everybody kept being protected, which they don't. They put so much emphasis on the big matches that sometimes they just book on the fly the other matches. Like
Right.
the women's match was, to me, how much I don't give a shit about women's matches, but it was also awful.
Yeah.
It was like, what the fuck, It was like
I couldn't believe
totally in disarray. No good moves, nothing. It was a 20-minute boring, totally botched. It's not the women's fault though. It was the way the match was booked. To have Sasha, the only good wrestler besides Charlotte on the roster, lose this quick. Like, what the hell? And Becky. I love Becky too, but I mean, it's like, what?
Yeah.
So I don't know. The women's match, to me sucked.
And
but
even Nikki Bella didn't even wrestle.
I expect it to not suck. Even if I don't like it, I can admit when a match is good, and I expect it to be the match. But it wasn't. Sadly, wasn't.
No.
And I know a lot of people were disappointed too in my area about the match. The Cruiserweight match was, like I said, seemed out of place. Not because of Kalisto, not because of Brian Kendrick. Just the fact that it's. I would prefer them to be on either NXT or their own brand. That would be so much better for them. The bright lights of WWE don't fit with the format of the Cruiserweight division.
No. It was better when they had the Cruiserweight Classic.
That's why there's so many guys from NXT that just can't make the transition from top guys. Like, you take Ty Dillinger.
It's hard.
He wouldn't be able to make it this big, on the main roster. I'm so scared for the Revival. They are the best tag team in the world, but on main roster, if you give them 5-minute matches, they won't be able to tell the story they told on NXT like they did yesterday. To me, the match of the year, Revival against DIY. And if you put them against Breezango in a 2-minute match on Raw or whatever, they can't do anything,
Right.
So to me, I'd rather have them stay on SmackDown. It'd be better for them.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
So that basically was not a big card. It was not a lot of matches on the card.
No.
Brock, the 5-man tag team, the 5-women tag team. What saved the card actually was the 5-men, match that lasted over an hour.
Right.
Because in retrospect, I really enjoyed it. It's an experience. Whether just the entrances themselves, are so cool. That's the big difference, I think, between being live.
Right.
And at home. At home, I would have probably said, it was not the best Survivor Series ever.
Right.
Because, but when you're live and you the entrances and everything,
It's amazing, yeah.
It changes your perception. It makes you a little bit less, pointing at everything.
Right.
But it was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'm not saying it was the best pay-per-view ever.
No.
But I enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed the crowd. Everybody around me was very cool. There was nobody that tried to, steal. The crowd didn't hijack the show.
No.
Like New York does a lot of times, and a lot of crowds like that, which I'd rather have a crowd try to hijack a show than crowds like Baltimore or Indianapolis are dead, totally dead.
Right.
But I mean, between hijacking and being a dead crowd, this was like a good fit, like perfect, very enthusiastic, very into the matches, hometown guys over, Jericho was over.
Oh, yeah.
And no nostalgia act besides the main event, no Edge coming out or whatever, or Undertaker or whatever. Even though I love Edge, but I mean, it was basically the guys on the roster.
Yeah.
And weird ending, but still a good show, a good crowd, good evening, a great weekend.
Definitely, yeah.
And at the end, as we're going out and we're trying to find our way back to get a cab, I'm going to see a guy to ask him directions, and oh and behold, I said, "Hey, sir, and I realized it's Mauro Ronaldo. So I said, "Hey, Mauro, how are you?" And he said, "Hey, I'm doing great." And he was going to the cab. I said, "Can I take a picture with you?" He said, "Oh, of course." And then I said, "Can you have a picture with my kid?" So he took a picture with Fred.
Yeah.
And very nice guy. I love Mauro. Awesome guy. Shout out to him, the best announcer on WWE.
He's a great announcer, yeah. Definitely.
Great announcer, great guy. He's very cool on Twitter.
Yeah.
Good guy in person too. He took the time. He didn't have to do that. It was crazy cold outside, windy and snowing.
Yeah.
Took the time to stop, talk to us, take a picture, two pictures.
Well, because Toronto's his hometown.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's going back home.
Very happy, that totally out of the blue, sometimes,
Yeah.
But it was fun, I already loved them. So it's, I didn't expect any less from Mauro Ronaldo. Great guy, and
always a gentleman, yeah.
always a gentleman, yeah. And our King of Strong Style.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love our shirt, brother. Strong Style Nakamura.
Yes, sir, huh?
It was Nakamura. I love him. I that's another guy that that's one of the guys that I'm not afraid that when he comes to the main roster, he'll be big deal.
He's gonna be a big star, yeah.
Like Finn.
Like AJ Styles.
Like AJ. Like like a lot of guys transitioned from NXT that made it big. I'm not counting the Shield because they were there in the FCW, but I think the Wyatts were kind of like the first to really make it big on the roster.
Right.
And then, Big E kind of made, now in New Day.
Yeah.
But there's been more failures than successes. But at the same time, not everybody can be at the top at the same time.
But there's been some good successes, like Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. I said the first. But after that, there was Sami and Kevin. But there's been a lot of, Neville's, like, I totally don't understand. He's such a wonderful athlete. Tyler Breeze and Bo Dallas and Baron Corbin now is getting a very good push. I'm very happy for him. Apollo Crews, that's sad. He's such a wonderful talent. I'd rather, see him go back to NXT.
Oh, yeah.
Once
they get called up, they can go back.
Exactly. That's sad.
Yeah, it's kind of
because soon guys will be saying, "No, I'm staying on NXT. I don't want to leave."
Yeah, it's better there.
It's home. We don't make as much money as the guy on the main roster.
No.
But we're over.
And they don't travel as much.
We don't travel as much, and we're over.
Right.
We get a chance to be over.
Yeah.
So like Finn, he said it. I was kind of like, really don't want to leave, NXT.
No, he was happy there, yeah.
He was happy there, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a great evening. Enjoyed it. Yeah. Great night for wrestling. Great weekend, perfect weekend. We did some urban exploring at Camp 30 in Ontario. We NXT Takeover.
Yeah.
Today we visited the CN Tower.
Yeah.
With the kids. It was awesome. I love Toronto. Love the feeling you have when you walk in the street. People are so nice. Everybody talks to everybody. It was very, very, very cool weekend. I really enjoyed it.
Definitely.
I would have loved to stay for tomorrow and watch Raw, but unfortunately, we ran out of time and money.
It's expensive, yeah.
Extremely expensive, but everybody, thank you for listening, and can't wait to do another podcast soon, to continue our weekly roundup. It's ZWrestleTalkradio Survivor Series review, live from the hotel where it's 11:30. We just walked straight back from, the Air Canada Center. So it's a fresh review of the show. And like I said, it was a radar version. So I know sometimes I can get a little riled up when I talk about the some issues that I have with the... But tonight... To me, they did a good job of promoting the guys that are on the roster.
Oh, yeah.
And the main event was what it was, but it's like, tomorrow, if they do something with, if we don't see Brock and Goldberg tomorrow, then I don't know why they did this. You know, if it's building up towards something else, we'll see.
It must be, yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not just a squash match for no reason.
Right. I guess we'll find out.
Yep, we'll find out. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah.